USC is in a super interesting spot heading into 2025. I think 2025, if you're a Trojan fan, could change everything. Sounds hyperbolic. I don't think it's really that crazy to say. We'll unpack it together. If you're a USC fan, make sure you are subscribed now right here to the On3 YouTube channel. The show, The Hard Count, is college football year-round. Baby, want you a part of it. Best way to be a part of it is by being subscribed. So thank you in advance for that. Now, the reason why we say 2025 could change the entire complexion of USC football is when you look at what last season was. I know the record is the record, and people do the flyover takes of 7-6 average season, Lincoln Riley underachieving, Big Ten this, Big Ten that. Y'all look at what they were. They were close. They were extremely close. Now, close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, but in college football, close in the offseason can change what you are the upcoming season. All right, now the offseason for the folks out there in LA, I know they're going through the dog days right now. We'll talk about that a little bit more. But look at what they were. Every loss but one, they had a fourth quarter lead. Again, you don't get credit for having a fourth quarter lead, but if you finish through the line there, USC is a playoff team. The game that they didn't have a fourth quarter lead in was the Notre Dame game, or the game that I guess wasn't quite as close. 2-score game at the end of it, whatever. Jade Maiava balled out, though, dude. I mean, he threw for more yards than anybody against that Notre Dame defense. Went for like 3 bills and plus. Nobody even came close to having over 300 yards against that Notre Dame secondary. Jade Maiava did. First year in Los Angeles. First year, I mean, he got passed the keys midway through the season. Like, it wasn't even like the entire offense was built around him necessarily. And so when you look at the offense, they were one of the best in the Big Ten. And everyone's talking about the quarterback switch between Miller Moss and Maiava. It's like, y'all, they still put up a ton of production. They're still right there. Again, I don't mean to repeat myself and say they're right there, but they didn't get there. Being right there when you look to the next season should count for something. The defense, we talk about what they were supposed to be last year, and everyone's asking questions around, can a Lincoln Riley defense improve? Do they have some ground to make up? Sure. Did they make up some big ground, though? You better believe it. Improved by darn near a full touchdown when it came to what they allowed last season. So for USC as a whole now, speaking to like what the offseason looks like, Caden and I were talking before the show, and he put it really well. You can already visualize what that offseason is like for USC right now. You already know what the winter conditioning workouts are like. There's a lot of different schools across the country that have what they call a fourth quarter program or there's different names for it. But essentially, it's about when we get to that fourth quarter, because of what we do right now during the winter, we're going to be tougher mentally, physically. We're going to be better conditioned, all those things. And for USC, you don't think that fourth quarter program or whatever their version of it isn't dialed up a little bit more? I promise you, they're trying to break some souls out there at 5 a.m. out there on Howard Jones, the practice field. They are trying to make you quit. I don't know that to be 100% true, but I would feel pretty confident placing a bet on that. I think that's where USC is right now. I don't think that's a bad thing. Now, the reason why I think 2025 could change everything for USC, to go back to the point of this whole segment, USC is a super unique place in the sense that the brand in and of itself is iconic in the context of college football. However, it exists in one of the most happening cities in the U.S., in Los Angeles. So if the product on the field in the Coliseum isn't national title tier or close to, there's a lot of other things you can go do in Los Angeles. Hang out at Manhattan Beach. Check out downtown. I mean, USC is a difficult place academically. Maybe you get a little bit more studying in. I don't know. But the point being, if the product on the field isn't creme de la creme, it's hard to activate the excitement around that place. But if you do put a product on the field, there's nothing like what that thing is. There's no comp for when the Coliseum is rocking and the student body is bought in and the environment around USC, the fan base is filling that place up. Like it's a special atmosphere. There's very few things you can comp to it in college football. Different than the SEC, different than some of those other iconic venues, but it's still, I believe, from what I can gather from places we've been, it's in that category. It's in that tier. And so when you put the excitement back around a place, what does excitement translate to? Good optics. What does good optics translate to? Typically good recruiting. And you're seeing that now with USC too, and we've talked about it a few times already on the show, but what Lincoln Riley has done with the way they are structured now internally to be set up for success at USC on the recruiting trail. You go get Chad Bowden to be your GM from Notre Dame. You, it seems like, have your ducks in a row when it comes to NIL. There's a lot of things from the recruiting machine for USC that are now poised to put the roster into the best spot possible if you have success on the field. I hope I'm not saying that in too roundabout a way. I think that when USC has success now, they're in a better position than they ever have been to maximize what they can be on the recruiting trail and put together a top roster. And so we've said this a couple times, but like, you know, an Anchorman where I think Will Ferrell goes, well, that escalated quickly. That could be USC. That escalated quickly. We had a 9-10 win season the following year. Bada bing, bada boom, top 5 class. Maybe that rolls, and then at that point in time, you have a roster that's put together also with, you know, maybe the transfer portal doing some things for you. It can escalate quickly at a place like USC. That's just the fact of the matter. Because of the brand, because of how you're structured now when it comes to adding talent, because of the way they've trended on the field, it can translate very, very quickly. And I was thinking about this last night getting ready for the show. As quick as momentum can get rolling for USC in the Big Ten, I think it's fair to say that with the way they're built on defense now, if they were to have a decline, it would be, I think, a very slow decline. I don't think it would fall apart all at once. Because I think a lot of people think back to, as I say that statement, the Caleb Williams Heisman year. They have a lot of success playing in a New Year's Six bowl game. The following year, they're a trendy playoff pick. And then they just, fell off the face of the earth. Why? Is the defense. Now, that defense that existed in that era has since moved. They are no longer, not even moved. They're dead. That defense doesn't live in Los Angeles anymore. Dan Lynn has totally rebranded what they are on defense. And if they take another step in that direction, it's going to be a problem for the rest of the Big Ten. Because when you talk about the rest of the Big Ten, I think all the reasons why you go to a Michigan, an Ohio State, an Oregon in some respect, is the same reason you would go to a USC. Like USC can, I think, go answer for answer on why you would go to their school because of tradition, because of draft picks, because of national exposure. Clearly the Big Ten isn't a thing that anyone is differentiating with in that conversation we're having right now. But why you go to those schools is because of the on-field product. What Oregon's done lately, what Michigan's going to do and done not that long ago as well with Jim Harbaugh, what Ohio State just did winning a national championship. Like USC is just lacking the on-field product to prove to the rest of college football, and most notably potential USC Trojans, whether it be portal or recruiting trail. That's the only difference now for USC. And so if they can get that, the crux of this whole discussion is that can change them drastically for not just 2025, but I think the future. So they're right there. Right there. And if they can take that extra 10 to 15% of ground, especially in the fourth quarter, like I know they're trying to do right now, during brutal winter conditioning mornings, that could be the difference, and that could be the difference in what USC is for the next, 5-ish years, maybe further than that. But we'll keep a pulse on it. We'll obviously have a lot to say about spring football when that rolls around. But let me know in the comment section, what are your expectations for USC when it comes to 2025? Appreciate y'all being dialed in. Cato on the ones and twos. Subscribe on your way out of here. For myself, Jody PicKell, we appreciate y'all. We love y'all. We will keep this party rolling. We will see y'all next time.